Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Cooks with Iron. It's been a while, but I'm back. So I went to the grocery store, as you can tell here. I went to actually just get some meat to put in the smoker, but the produce section had a great reduced section. I mean, huge reduced section. So I went through and got the things I would use. Nothing's going to go to waste, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with all of it. So first of all, I'm going to start with unpacking it, and then I'm going to show you what I do with the meat first because I've got to get that in the smoker, and then I'm going to show you what all I got and what I plan to do with it. So hang on, be right back. Okay, at my little store called Pruitt's, they had a great reduced section, even on some of the pieces of meat. Now, my husband said he wanted some ribs in the smoker, so they carry this kind, and it's $12.89 for this rack of ribs. This is his favorite way to have ribs. But then I seen these. These are pork shoulder country style ribs. They're already cut apart and they're real thick and meaty. So I want to try this in the smoker and see if I liked it. And then I asked him, have we ever had a steak on the smoker? And he said, no, we've never done beef yet. I'm just learning the smoker. So I went to go find one good ribeye, one big good ribeye to try on the smoker to see if we liked it. The price of one ribeye was $15 to $18 for one 1-inch thick ribeye. I found this. I cannot believe I bought this. $15. Was $23, on sale for $15. And it is a beef chuck 7-bone roast. But it's the size of a steak. I'm going to put this on there and see what happens. You can't ruin it on the smoker. And then the last thing I bought was this pork loin top loin roast boneless. So I'm going to cut this in a few chunks. I'm going to season everything. So you guys hang on and you can come with me and I'll show you how I season everything, what I do, and then we'll take it out to the smoker. So first of all, when I buy a rack of ribs, I always buy the baby back rather than the St. Louis style because this seems to be more tender. But that has this little membrane on the back of the ribs. So I can't get it with my hand, but if you take a paper towel, you can usually start picking on one end or the other, and it will start to pull up. I hope you can see that membrane like that. But it sticks to the paper towel. And let me get a little closer. You can see this right here. Y'all can see that. And I pick all of that up off of the rib because that's a part that we don't eat. And it kind of makes it chewy on the back of the ribs. It comes off real easy with a paper towel. Now, normally here lately, I've only been seasoning with Head Country. I bought this at Sam's, been seasoning with it. My husband says it's a little salty. So he said, don't put so much, but I love for my meat to be covered with a rub. I think it's just delicious that way. So I'm going to do this Head Country. And then if y'all have seen this before, it has a dirty word on it. So this is some seasoning, and you can buy it online at Big Cock Ranch in Lexington, Texas. So they have a bunch of different seasonings. So this one is just a seasoning that I use on a lot of items. And then I also bought this Grill Master's Brown Sugar Bourbon. So instead of putting a whole lot of Head Country, I'm going to put all 3 of these on all of these meats. I'm going to use one seasoning for all meats and just sprinkle them on there. So, let me grab a knife and cut this in half. Only reason I cut this in half is because it just cooks quicker being cut in half. For me, it does. Everybody smokes different. Mine's an electric smoker. I had an electric smoker. My son won one at a Christmas contest. And that's what I had. And then he broke the handle off of it. And so it would always flash and say that the door is ajar, which it wasn't. We fixed the handle. But it still always flashed. So what we did was, I think it finally wore out the mechanism. I think is what happened. Because it quit working. The electronics of it quit working. So I had been smoking for my parents and learning how to smoke because my dad is really good at just eating whatever he has. So we've been smoking for him. That way he's always got something good and healthy there to eat. They just make a side to go with it. It's easy on my parents. So when it broke, my dad's like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? So he went and bought me another smoker. So this one is also electric. It does not have all the electronics, which I'm thankful for because I think sometimes those fail when you have too much fancy stuff. Let me rinse my hands off. Open everything else and get out here on the board. And then I'll rinse my hands one time and get everything on the board. Whoop. Now I'm going to set my ribs on this. I don't know what my husband's going to say about this huge piece of beef. He said, I've never done beef before. We're going to give it a go. For $15, why not? Okay. So, I'm going to keep these 2 trays. Now, let me wash my hands so that I can touch the seasonings. So this is all of ours that we're going to smoke, and we'll eat this all weekend long. We'll eat it with everything. We'll just come inside sometimes and be like, I'm a little snacky, and just pick up a couple of ribs, and that's how we'll do it. But some people, sometimes we make a side to go with it. But anytime I do start the smoker up, I try to do a little bit of extra things, because for me, it's easier and I don't have to be cooking all week long. I don't have to make something new every night. Just pick you out a rib, make some deviled eggs, make some potato salad, and we go with that. Oh, and also, so my dad had bought some stuff when he went to Sam's the other day, and he's like, hey, next time you smoke, do you mind, get out of my picture. My dad said, hey, next time you smoke, do you mind throwing me something on the smoker? And so I have some country style ribs kind of like this that's over in the sink defrosting that I am going to throw on the smoker for my dad. And of course, they're not going to be done until like 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. I think I need to use this. I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll have them ready for Dad. And then he just puts them in the Ziploc bag in the fridge and just pulls one out and eats it with breakfast, lunch, or dinner, however he feels like. Okay, here we go with this huge steak. I don't know. I think my husband's going to flip his lid when he comes home. Usually he comes home on his lunch and he checks the meat for me. And he like temps it and sees how we're doing. And we both go out there with the cutting board and we temp it and look at it and poke it and, you know, turn everything over. And I don't know what he's going to say about this big one. I don't know. I think his reaction will be kind of funny. This bourbon brown sugar has got a lot of big chunks in it, which that's okay. We will enjoy that. Oh, put that right there. See if I can get it up on there. And this last one, I'm going to cut it in half, probably 2 pieces. Now, I normally don't cut things in half because I usually have 6 or 8 hours to smoke. But this time I don't. I've only got about 4 hours until time for supper. So the smaller things will be done. So when it happens that I've only got about 4 hours to smoke something and I'm wanting to smoke something, I will go ahead and smoke it. And then we'll go out there and pick the smallest pieces off and we'll eat them for supper. And then we'll go back and take the biggest ones off before we go to bed. And I'll just throw them in the refrigerator. And then he comes home when he gets off work and he eats them. Says they're good. And we do like it in a few different chunks like I'm doing here, because you kind of get bark all over the meat. So you've got that seasoning and bark all over the meat. So we like it like that. Okay, let's get this one seasoned up. One thing my husband does like is a little extra seasoning. He says it's good like that. So we'll throw a little extra on there. And then I'm going to wash my hands real quick. All right. So I'm going to start with making sure that we have wood chips. We do. We've got some good wood chips in there. So my husband, when he started it, he put some wood chips in there for me. Put a little more water on them. Good and wet. Whoop. Fill that up with water. Okay. Now, Now, I don't want to, I'm going to put this in here first. And I don't want to put it at the bottom because I'm afraid it will block all of the heat. So we're going to push it right there on top. All right, then I'm going to get all these country style ribs in there. Let's see if I can, 3, 4, 5 of those. Okay. I don't think those will take too long. And then I'm going to, we're going to have more room. I am running out of room, y'all. Okay, let's do this. I'll put these 3 hunks back here. I'm glad this is not very hot. I wouldn't be able to hold it. Okay, so let's leave that like that one. And then the last one, I'm going to put these 2 racks of ribs on. All right, we're going to leave it like that. And I'm going to turn up the smoke. It's not even smoking. It's on 100. I just spilled a little bit there, as y'all could see. But I'm going to turn it up, and we're going to see what happens from there. Okay, so on my front porch, I just took a cup like this full of water, and I just rinsed it off. That way, 1, I don't have a dog up on my front porch or a cat. And then 2, that way that I don't get any ants or bugs up around my smoker. I'm going to clean this area really good where I had all this meat. I'm going to leave this here because I still have a few more things thawing in the water. That was the part that belonged to my dad. So let me clean this up real well. And then Dad's is almost thawed. When it is, I'll take it out and put it in the smoker. I've never had my smoker quite that full, so I've turned it up. So let's see how that works. It's going to be a lot of smoke for a while when it's that full, I think. I'm not an expert at smoking at all. Okay, so I've got the cabinet good and clean. So I'm going to show you what all I bought. I'm going to put it up on the cabinet and then I'll show you when I'm done. So this is what my reduced produce looks like that I got. Let me show you. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bags of potatoes. The bags of potatoes were $1.50. So what happened is they had a big bag and they had to get a rotten one out. So what was left, they split up into clearance bags. So these are $1.50 a bag. Okay, and then I got these tomatoes. So I have a whole bunch of boxes of tomatoes. They are $1.50. So I've even got yellow ones. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tomatoes at $1.50 each. And I think they're usually like $3 to $4 depending on what brand you got. And I got 2 of these. So they're a little bit bigger tomato, $1.50. Then I got 2 bags of bell peppers. They are $1. There's 5 in each. Well, one's got 4. No, they both got 5. And then I got 2 small bags of onions. There's 4 in one, 3 in one. They're $1. And then I got 5 bags of these onions, and they're $1. And it's because, see, this one's molded. So what I'm going to do is cut this off, make sure it's good, rinse them all real good, and use the rest of them. And then the only thing I bought that was not reduced was apples. Got my husband 4 red delicious apples. Oh, and these. I've never tried these, but they say delightfully color combo, buttery, yellowish flesh, the Little Potato Company. I've never tried these. It says makes fresh creamier potatoes. So I thought I would keep these 2. They're $1.50 a bag. I don't know what the regular price was on them, but I wanted to try them because this says Blushing Bell fresh creamier potatoes. So I want to try these 2 to eat. And I think I'm going to make them with like some onions and some Polish sausage in the skillet and see if they're a creamier potato. All right, so one person's asking, what can I do with all of this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my food processor out. I'm going to food process all of these potatoes. I'm going to lay them on a dehydrating tray, rinse them first, lay them on a dehydrating tray, and I'm going to dehydrate them all. Now, what I use them for, once they're dehydrated, I put them in gallon Ziploc bags, and then I put them in soups. So anytime we go camping, anytime I'm outside making something on the fire in my Dutch oven, I put me a handful of potatoes in there. And you would be so surprised that all of these potatoes would fit in 1 gallon bag when it's dehydrated. Come here, in front of me. Hi. Here's the Layla. And with the onions, I'm going to dehydrate them. And then I'm going to put them in, I have a coffee grinder, and I'm going to make my own onion powder with them, or I'm going to make my own minced onions. So that's 2 things I use the onions for. And me and this little cute girl, we made a TikTok video about how to make salsa. I was showing this cute 10-year-old little girl how to make salsa. Okay, so what I was saying is we caught so much crap over making that TikTok video. There was hundreds of comments saying that's not how you make salsa, that's not the correct way, that's not authentic Mexican salsa, that's not, you should have added this, you should have added that. First of all, we only had 60 seconds, so I just tried to put in there clips of especially me teaching my 10-year-old how to can. That was the main important part of the video. And so the salsa is not hot. I didn't put any peppers in it at all. I think I did onions, tomatoes, garlic, a little bit of sugar. And people were saying, that's not salsa, that's not salsa. So anyway, back to what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to turn this into salsa, but I am going to dehydrate these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them all in halves, quarters, all these little ones, and they dehydrate a lot better like that. And then but I'll see how much room I have in the dehydrator. So if I don't have enough room to put all of this in at once, then what I'll do is I'll just freeze them, and then I'll use them for salsa here before long. I'm loving how Pruitt's does this. I'm loving that it seems like every time I stop by, I can find something on the reduced rack. But when I can find this amount, this is easier for me to do it all at once, to make dehydrated potatoes for soups, to dehydrate my tomatoes, and I also use those in soups. The bell peppers, I can dehydrate those. You can also dehydrate and blend up your bell pepper powder, and you can add that to another powder. So like if you want a seasoning, you could do salt, pepper, bell pepper, onions, garlic, tomatoes. You can make a powder out of stuff like that. If you want to put things together, it makes a very tasty powder. Then you know what's in your seasoning. It's not filled with a whole bunch of stuff you don't know what it is, which is what I buy because it's more convenient. But if you made it like this out of all of your dehydrated fruits and vegetables, I have some broccoli laying here somewhere that I accidentally, a little crown of broccoli, I left it out last night. It looks horrible. It's all wilted and sad looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dehydrate that while I've got the dehydrator out. And then we'll also add it to something. It's not going to hurt. Nobody's going to taste it. Nobody's going to know what's in there, but I don't want to throw it away. So first of all, let me get started unpacking everything, washing everything, and then I'll be back with you in just a minute. You guys hang on. Okay, I'm starting with potatoes in case I don't have enough time to finish all of this tonight. I have been at work all day, and I have a meeting that I can go to tonight if I want to. So let's see how much I can get done. I'm going to rinse them all off first. Here's the sad broccoli that I left on the counter. Look how sad that is. I will dehydrate it in something. It would be great to go in a soup or a stew when you're out on the fire. All right. That's all the potatoes. I'm going to grab this big bowl right here. about right there. I don't peel my potatoes before I dehydrate them. You can blanch them. So I watched a video on making your potatoes not turn brown. Okay, this is one of the issues. I'll show you this while see this? So I will cut that off. I watched a video on not making your potatoes turn brown when you dehydrate them. So the only thing she did was she blanched them. So you can blanch them whole, which takes a while to get the middle of them done. Or you can there's another bad spot in a potato. You can either blanch them whole, which takes a long time for the middle to get done, or you can go ahead and shred them and then blanch them, which keeps your potatoes white when you dehydrate them. They taste the same, whether they are white or brown. Let me show you what my dehydrated potatoes look like. So I did not blanch these, and I did not peel them. So I don't know what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with the color. They eat the same. You heard the snap? So all you do is take them, and if you want to make like a fried hash brown or a fried potato out of these, so all you do is you take them and you soak them in hot water. And I think it takes hot water, 10-15 minutes until they're tender again. Then you can dry them off and fry them if you want to make like a fried potato or a hash brown. So they can be used other ways. They're just easier to use in a soup or a stew because you throw them in there and it bakes for, 20-30 minutes, an hour while your soup or stew's cooking. Here's another bad one. That's why we rinse our potatoes. I wouldn't want to just throw that over into my I wouldn't want to throw it over into my food processor. Okay, so we're to this point here where I need to grab the food processor. Give me just a second. I have an older food processor. I got it off the Facebook Marketplace garage sale site, and I only paid $10 for it, which was a great deal compared to what one is now. But after we got it, we figured out it was broke. There's 3 little pieces here that I have to hold kind of and put together to make this work. So the lady that had it, I don't know if she couldn't figure that out or if she figured it out and didn't want to deal with it. Either way, but for $10, I kind of figured it was worth it for me, and I will deal with it and hang on to it. So this little thing right here comes up and down, so it lets the sensor know that it's shut completely. So I have to hold it, set it on here, set it down, and then turn it, and then it tells it it's latched. Okay. I don't think I need this. Let me think about this. No, I don't need that other part. Okay, so when I'm using this, here's the lid. It takes me a second. I don't use this thing all the time. And this. Okay, so we're ready to go. And you can only put the potatoes in this little bitty hole. I don't know why it's made this way, but that's okay. So I will have to cut some of these. Not much room with all this on my counter, but I can definitely make this work for the price that I was given. I'm happy about the price. Okay, so this thing is loud, especially when it gets something in there. So like this, sometimes it gets to kicking around, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a whole bunch of them cut. That way I can fill this whole bowl up, and then I'll continue on to the next one. So they've got to kind of be in smaller chunks, which it doesn't matter what your chunks look like, as long as it will fit in there. I don't want to make teeny-nancy chunks. That just makes it, you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm just cutting on a cutting board. So I'll scoot this back a little bit. I don't want to make teeny chunks because that's just more I have to put in there at a time. But anything like this that I can just throw them in there would be very convenient. I guess I'll make a cutting board full and then I'll start throwing them in there. Yep, that can fit by itself. Don't even have to be cut. Whoop. And I can bring you back when I get this whole container full. That's what I'll do. Hang on. Let me start doing this. See? It catches sometimes. Whoop. I lost a potato. And it didn't come with a plunger, so we don't plunge it. We just stick it down in there. I think that's why it catches sometimes, because we don't have a plunger to push it down in there. But that's okay. I do not put anything down in there except for more pieces of vegetables. Okay, I'll come back in a minute. Okay, that one cutting board has almost completely filled up my bowl. You can see it, it's right there. So I think when I get done with this right here, it will be full enough. It's almost too big. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there on that. And then I take this off. Now, sorry, I'm not used to how this thing works exactly. But look how full my bowl is. So that sucker is pretty full. Now I have to hold that piece so that it doesn't go flying off. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to put the potatoes over in here. Hold that piece on the back. Put the potatoes in here because I want to rinse some of the starch off of the potatoes. Alright, there went my piece. So hang on just a second. Now it's harder to just turn it back upside down. Get the little piece to fit. My husband's looked at it and there's no way that he can glue it or anything. It has to recognize that this piece is on there. So we can't glue it, which is okay. I'm not complaining. Okay, I'm going to come back and do some more potatoes on the cutting board, fill another bowl full. Be right back. This is where we're at this point. I have this bowl and this container that both need to be rinsed off. I like to get some of the starch off before I dehydrate. So I'm going to take them to the sink. I've got a drainer in there and I'm going to drain those. And you can see in my dish drainer right here, I had put all the rest of the potatoes. So I've got this big pink bowl here, this, and this dish drainer full of potatoes. So come down here with me and we'll show you. So I didn't have enough room in this pink bowl that's right here. So I put the rest of them in here. Everything that I'm cutting off, all these bad pieces, I'm feeding to my chickens. So I'm going to take this first bowl, pour it in here, and then I'm going to rinse it. Okay, rinse my hands off. And now is when I need the dehydrator. Let me go grab it. Okay, so now here's where we're at. I've got the dehydrator sitting right here. And then I'm going to take the trays out of it. And I am going to put my potatoes on a tray. You see, okay. Put the potatoes on a tray. And then I'm going to spread them out. I'll show you, can see. Show you what it looks like when I'm done. It's okay if they're touching. They just will not dehydrate. It takes longer to dehydrate if they're touching. If they are touching, they'll come out like in a sheet. And you just break them up with your hands, put them in your Ziploc bags. So because I have so much, so it looks like that one bowl is one tray. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a 9 tray dehydrator, but I don't have a little clear rack for each one. I know you can't see that, but this is touching the top, so it just kind of pushes it over. I just spread it out as it goes in there, okay? Then I'm going to take the next one, and I'm going to put this on Oh, we still got some potato, a lot of water in there, but it'll drain on this. Now I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna go back down here, get the rest of the potatoes, dump them in here, dump them in the strainer, and strain them out. Okay, now I'm gonna take these potatoes I just rinsed out, put them on here like this. You can tell the difference in the, I think they're called Yukon Gold and Russet potatoes. You can tell the difference. They're really yellow and kind of brownish. So I'll just do this. So I will not be able to do all the potatoes that I bought and all the onions and tomatoes. I always have a great idea, but sometimes I get a little ahead of myself and try to get too much. I thought I could fit it all on a tray, but I can't. I thought I could fit it all in one dehydrator, but there'll be no way I can do that. Okay, so let's get this last one spread out here. This is number 3. Okay, I can definitely fit more on here. So if you guys will hang on, I'm going to go back down there and cut and peel more potatoes. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back to finish up this tray. So I got it rinsed off. The potatoes, some of the starch off. I've never seen where it says you can't leave the starch on the potatoes. For some reason, I just always do. I just always rinse, oops, dropping a few. I just always rinse the starch off of the potatoes. It's just how I do it. I'm not saying this is the right way. It's just the way that I've been doing it. Okay. Well, I bet I can get all of this onto this one. Let's try it. See how I do with that. That's a little much on that one. Let's do this. Okay. I want it to kind of all dehydrate evenly, where I don't have to leave some for days. I want to make sure it's all done. Okay. Now let's put the rest of this on here. And then I'll rinse off these potatoes. Always sticks to you with this one. This will work. Let's see if I'm not going to have enough for that. Hang on, we'll come back. Okay, at this point, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I only have one tray left that has a screen that I can use. The last tray does not have a screen. I think it got lost somewhere in the move, so I need to order some more screens for this. But I'm gonna do this one, and then I'm gonna do one more bowl of potatoes, one more cutting board full, whoa, because that's gonna be all that I can take is one more cutting board full. So I'm going to do one more round of potatoes, and that's it for the dehydrator. Okay, so this is my last potatoes. I stopped. I did one more last bowl. I didn't want to get it too full because I want to get them all on here. So this is my last thing of potatoes. Oops, I got one sliver. And even a sliver like this, you can leave it in there. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll dehydrate and cook up just like a piece of potato in your soup. So absolutely not. I shouldn't have done this many. I got a little too much, but that's okay. We will make this work. We'll put this in here. Oh, not bad. Not bad. I thought I had a little overflowing. And then, let me show you my dehydrator. Okay, so this is what my dehydrator looks like with all the racks of potatoes in it. I have one extra rack down here, but it doesn't have a screen on it. And then I put the lid, the door on the front, like this, and I set it to potatoes. Wait, vegetables. Go back here where I can see.
My back.
Oh, vegetables. Vegetables is $1.25. Okay. I've got it going. Got it set on that. This is going to take all night and tomorrow. And I will have my husband check this in the morning and see how crunchy everything is. If not, it'll wait until I get home from work. Now, if you guys want to stay with me, you can. I'm going to go ahead and clean up my mess that I've got again. And then I'll have to do the onions, bell peppers, and tomatoes tomorrow night. We'll see. I may have to do onions one night because that's going to be a bunch of onions. So I'm just going to get everything cleaned up. That is crazy how much starch is in the bottom of my sink after doing that. I'm going to get everything rinsed off. And then I'll put it in the dishwasher. I was waiting until I got done to put my load of dishes in the dishwasher that are here in the sink, because I knew I was going to have to put them in there with this.
Hey, Mom.
My video's going.
Well, hello.
Hello, Cooks with Iron. Alright.
Hello, Cooks with Iron.
I'm going to leave these potatoes in a strainer on this. Let me move that. Because they were wet, and I don't want to leave them in this bowl because they're leaving water in the bottom of the bowl. So I'll just put the potatoes that I have in here. I also ran me a sink of clean hot water so I can wash the cabinets. I always have something going around here. Okay, we'll stop with that. And I'm going to put this in the chicken feed. I do need to go feed the chickens. Okay, this potato stuff, you have to rinse these potatoes off of these things or it will, the starch will get real sticky. So it's best, that's one of the first things you do is rinse everything off that had potatoes on it. Now I am going to put it in the dishwasher. My food processor, I do not put in the dishwasher. It's an older item. I don't put any of its pieces in there. I just automatically wash whatever I'm doing. And I put it right back up. I don't want any part to get lost. I mean, for $10, I can't beat the price. And then it's kind of old and fragile. I want to take care of it. I want to make sure that I take good care of it. I feel like my food processor sometimes. I feel old and well used, but I'm still here. So I want to take good care of it. Okay, so let me go put this back in its box, and then I'll come get all of its parts and put it in its box. When I am putting this away, I have my 3 little pieces. Whoa. Let me find it. Drop them. I put them in this bowl right here, and I put the lid on it so that they can't get lost, because those are pieces that I have to make it work. Then I go put everything over in its box where it belongs. Okay, I'm going to end this here. I am tired. I'm ready to sit down for a little while. I've got everything cleaned up except for the rest of these vegetables, and I'll deal with them tomorrow. And this load that needs to go into the dishwasher. So that's all for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Come back. Woo! And you know what the ending result of my potatoes look like? They're going to look like this in a gallon Ziploc bag. I'll show you one more time in here. They look just like that. So perfect. And it don't take me long to use a gallon Ziploc bag of these. Especially you guys. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.